Do you ever remember going to a speakeasy that got raided?
No, I don't remember that. I remember one time, this is wild too, went someplace with a date, and he was a Jewish fella. And we drove out to Maryland, some club, a Maryland club, I think it was, out in Maryland someplace. And somebody started shooting at us. And this Jewish fellow said to me, "Oh, take the wheel, take the wheel." I said, "I don't know how to drive." He said, "Well, take it anyhow." We were being shot at.
Really?
And I don't ever remember why.
So
I know that we didn't get hit. That was a lucky
Why
part.
did he want you to take the wheel? What was he doing?
I don't know what he was doing.
Was he shooting back?
I guess he was being aimed at, and he didn't. He I don't know.
Goodness gracious.
It was crazy.
Ooh-wee.
No, oh, that is crazy. I can't. I should remember something like that.
Interesting.
His name was Harry. Or Harry.
Your experiences.
For 5 cents we could go to the movies, and I remember one time we were living in, my daddy had remarried. We were living at Tudor Hall at 10th and Massachusetts Avenue, and down at 9th New York Avenue, which is a couple of blocks away, there was a movie house, and we could get in for 5 cents. Children could. And my sister Ethel and I went down to the movie one night, and my father used to say, "Now I want you home at 9 o'clock. Well, 9 o'clock came, and here comes Daddy down the aisle looking for us. We had to be home. He hauled us out of that movie house. But they didn't see what the end of the movie was. Because we had to be home at 9 o'clock. That was it. Then we used to go to a vaudeville show down at Keith's vaudeville show. For 25 cents, we could go down there for about 2.5 hours and see vaudeville, real live people.
Like dancing and singing and comedy.
Right, right.
All right, well that takes us to, how did you ever meet Granddaddy? Tell us how you met him. Do you remember?
I had a very dear girlfriend that was very close to me in junior high school, Liv Frame. And when she graduated from Eastern High School, we were very close, and she had a friend that she worked with, Margaret Meyer, who was my husband's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my husband and his sister Margaret moved up to Washington, D.C., and my husband was working for Johnny Slaughter band at the Willard Hotel, and they also had played at the Powhatan Hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue on the roof. They used to have a roof up there that had dancing every Saturday night.
Under the stars.
And I remember him coming in one night from playing a job and sitting down and eating and introducing me to him, and I fell in love with him immediately.
Really?
Fell in love with him immediately, and he was going to law school also at the same time. And from then on, why, the only time I ever saw him was in between playing a job and going to law school. And he made a date with me. He wanted me to go with him. He wanted to drive up to Skyland Drive. And at that time, he had a Plymouth, a brand new Plymouth coupe with a rumble seat. And his mother and his sister and he and I went in the car up to Skyland Drive and took a picnic lunch. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. I had on a beautiful houndstooth skirt with a black jacket and a real pretty slouch hat, and got eggs all over me because we were all sitting in the front seat. 5 of us were in the front seat. And that was my first real date with your grandfather, Skyland Drive.
Very nice. The date included his mother and sister.
That was in It was Easter time, so it must have been around May. And we were married in October.
So your first date was in May. You got married, what, 5 months later?
Uh-huh.
Wow. You must not have dated very long before he proposed.
We went to Florida. His mother and his sister and Granddaddy and I drove to Florida. And the first night we all slept in the same room, and the bed bugs were biting. So we had to get up and in the middle of the night to drive on to Florida. And we never slept together because his mother and his father were there. We never slept together, no. And I never had anything to do with your grandfather until we were married. Anyhow, we went on to Florida. And we lived with some friends of my sister-in-law's. And that's when Granddaddy decided he was going to buy a house for his father and mother. His father was living in Atlanta, and he and his mother, his father and mother didn't get along with each other, and so he thought that they should be together. Your grandfather thought they should be together, so he bought a house. $1,000 down. He borrowed on his insurance. We bought this house for $3,500.
Wow.
It was a house on 4 lots.
Wow.
Tangerine Avenue. Never forget it.
Why did he pick Florida?
St. Petersburg. That's where we were headed. That's where we went.
Why did you go down to Florida?
Well, my sister-in-law had some friends down there, and she had been married and had lived down there in St. Petersburg and had some friends down there. So we were headed back there. Mm-hmm. And Granddaddy wanted to go down to Florida anyhow, so he thought it'd be a good idea to find a place for his father and mother to live. And I've got a picture of that. That picture there of your mother and Georgiana was taken in front of the house.
This one right here.
Yeah, this one right here was taken right in front of the house.
I think Mom actually drove down there recently and saw the old house.
She looked for it.
Mm-hmm.
The 1675 Tangerine Avenue. The street cars used to run along Tangerine Avenue.
How about that?
Right.
Now, do you remember when he proposed to you? Do you remember that?
I was thinking about that the other night. I don't ever remember your grandfather saying, "Will you marry me?"
Never get out on his knees and had a ring?
Vaguely, I remember just that it just happened. But we just felt that it was to be. That's all. I don't ever remember seeing him play Georgia. The only association I have is when we got married. Mr. Frame was my best girlfriend's father, and she was my maid of honor at our wedding. And Mr. Frame, her father, took Granddaddy and me and Lib to the Willard Hotel at the cocktail lounge after we were married, and then we went on a honeymoon. That was something else too.
Where was your honeymoon?
Well, Granddaddy got tickets for a boat trip to Norfolk, and we could take a car aboard the ship at that time, and we had the bridal suite. And Jimmy Schaefer was Granddaddy's best man, and Jimmy Schaefer and his wife Peggy and Granddaddy and I went down to the boat, and Peggy didn't want to leave. She crawled up in the bed and she didn't want to leave. She was going to spend the night there.
Oh, yeah?
We had this beautiful bridal suite, and Granddaddy had caught a cold, and we had the most sumptuous dinner.
Is this in the Cavalier Hotel at Virginia Beach? Or is this in Norfolk?
Yeah, we stayed at the Cavalier.
Mm-hmm.
That was the old Cavalier.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where our honeymoon was. Who was it that stayed there?
Me and Jennifer.
You and Jennifer,
Mm-hmm.
right.
The night we were married, we
Yeah,
stayed there.
yeah. That was something. We had a beautiful dinner that night, and Granddaddy was so sick with a cold. And he kept saying, honey, tell me tell me how good the food was.
Where were you married?
In Washington, D.C.
In a church?
No, we were married at the minister's home and had my family there. And it was just a very small wedding and had Libby's father. And I don't think Jimmy Schaefer and his family were there. But it was just mostly my family, my aunts and my sisters. Because I think my sister Ethel was married at the time.
Do you remember what you wore?
Yeah, I had a sort of a henna dress with little threads, silver threads running through it. And I had a necklace. I think I still have the necklace, gold necklace, that clipped on. And I had to wear low heels because I always thought Granddaddy was taller than I was. And I didn't wear a hat. No, I didn't wear a hat. And Granddaddy bought me a gardenia corsage.
Oh, yeah.
One gardenia. We were poor than church mice. Oh, I think we moved into somebody's second floor down by the Cavalier Hotel so that I could go back and forth to work. We lived there for a while, and then we moved into an apartment off of Georgia Avenue. And it used to have a little Jewish fellow that had a grocery store, and I used to call him and tell Mr. Gittleman was his name, to put some canned corned beef on the ice and some lettuce and tomatoes so we could have dinner that night.
Wow.
Oh, we used to have such nice little parties, have some friends come over, and we used to mash up sardines with onions and make a dip like. It was
Sardines
everything.
and onion dip?
Yeah. Get a can of sardines for a nickel.
You eat it on a cracker?
Oh, this is really. Let's see.
Is this before the kids came along?
Huh?
Was this before you started having children?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See, we were married in '35, and Georgiana wasn't born until '37.
So you had two years before you had kids.
Yeah. Granddaddy didn't particularly care about children. He just wanted to get married and just be the two of us. But I always wanted family. I always wanted something that belonged to us. I wanted children so bad, and I wasn't able to become pregnant until the doctor had to use something for me to become pregnant. And there's no problem after that. And then Marion, your mother, was born 3 years later. And then Courtney was born 3 years later after that. Granddaddy says, that's it.
Yep.
That's enough. 3's enough. We had finally had a little boy, and they were just precious babies.
Well, he went a long way from saying he just wasn't really into having children to having 3 children.
And I wanted 6.
He